Welcome to Maths and Science by IITian channel. Today, in rotational motion, 8th lecture, I have come up with some good example for the application of kinetic energy equation, which was initially derived by us as kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square. But in this case, because of the change in the I value, as the disk is rotating about an axis which is making an angle of theta with the axis of the disk, and the axis of rotation is passing through the center of the disk, and disk is rotating at a angular velocity of omega. Then in this condition we have to find the kinetic energy. This kinetic energy will not be equal to the regular kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square, where I is equal to mr square, half mr square. That's not the case here. I for a regular disk, which is a disk with not making any angle, the axis of rotation is not making any angle, then the value of I is equal to half mr square. If the axis of rotation is making an angle of theta with the axis of the disk, then what will be the effective moment of inertia? Here I will be effective moment of inertia, depending upon the geometry of the operation, geometry of the shape of the rigid body, geometry of the operation. Now, we will dwell into this question. It's a very nice question. Please try to understand it thoroughly and make sure that you will understand it perfectly. Now, for a disk, a regular disk, rotation without making any angle, the kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square, where moment of inertia is equal to I is equal to half mr square. Let us assume disk is in the plane xy plane. Disk is in the xy plane. Z axis is perpendicular to xy plane. Z axis is perpendicular to xy plane, and Z axis is the axis of, Z axis is also axis of disk. In this case, I Z is equal to half mr square. This is the moment of inertia for a disk which is in the xy plane, rotating about an axis perpendicular to xy plane. That axis is Z, like this. This is the Z axis and this is x axis. Be familiar with the three-dimensional axis in rotational motion. There is not necessary that you should keep z this side and x that side and y this side. You can make any way. You should understand the concept, because all these three angles should be 90 degrees. And our circle is like this, rather I can say sphere is like this, and its axis is perpendicular to xy plane. Sorry, let us draw it perfectly. Perpendicular to the xy plane. This is parallel to z axis, and this is the center, and it is rotating about this axis. In that case, this is the value, half mr square, where m is the mass of the disk. This is the disk. M is the mass of the disk and r is the radius. And here it is parallel to the z axis, the axis of rotation, and passing through the center. In this case, it is not parallel to the z axis. The disk itself is inclined. Then z axis will be this one. You please try to understand. Don't see only verticality and say that that is the z axis. Here plane is horizontal and the disk is horizontal in the xy plane. Here xy plane, the disk is tilted. It is making an angle of theta with the rotational axis through which it is rotating. Because of the isotropy of the space, because of the homogeneity of the space, axis rotation, axis translation are invariant. Please try to understand. Here only translation is there, rotation is not there. Z axis, this Z axis and that Z axis, both are blue ink and red ink, both are parallel to each other. There is only a translation. There is no rotation of the axis. But in the example given, there is a rotation in the axis by an angle of 30 degrees. When there is a rotation in the axis itself, then what happens to the moment of inertia of the rigid body? That's what we have to find out. This concept you should make it very clear. Now, Iz is, this is Iz. Then in the direction of x it will be Ix, in the direction of y it will be Iy. There will be three components for the moment of inertia. Three components will be there for moment of inertia. Which is in z axis, the component is Iz. That usually we take it as the, for regular studies, we take it as the axis of rotation, and x axis is Ix, and with respect to y axis it is Iy. From the elementary parallel axis theorem, which you please read from your books, I will teach you parallel axis theorem maybe in the next class. I am only giving a brief for particular this problem only. Because of the similarity of the circular disk, Ix is equal to Iy. Iz is equal to half mr square. And from the parallel axis theorem and also from the symmetry, Ix plus Iy is equal to Iz. For this case only I am telling about. For different shapes, for different cases, this formula may change. Then what is Ix and Iy are same because of the similarity. Then 2Ix is equal to 2Iy is equal to Iz. This implies Ix is equal to Iy is equal to half into Iz. That is equal to half into half mr square. That is equal to 1 by 4 into mr square. That means in the x direction, the moment of inertia is 1 by 4 mr square. In the z direction, the moment of inertia is this. Either you will make it capital or small in both the cases. In x-axis, y-axis, first we have found out the moment of inertia. What are the moment of inertias? In all the directions, z-axis it is half mr square, Iz it is Ix is equal to Iy is equal to 1 by 4 mr square. This is for a disk of this shape, which is on the plane of xy, which is in the plane of xy or parallel to the plane of xy, and rotation axis is parallel to z axis. Now the axis of rotation is making an angle of 30 degrees. Now axis of here we are required to find I effective due to the inclination of axis of rotation with respect to the axis of the disk. For that, the effective I is equal to Ix sin square theta plus Iz cos square theta. Please remember this formula. Please remember this formula. It is applicable for all thetas. For example, if angle of inclination is 0, then both the axis of rotation and disk axis are coinciding with each other. If theta is equal to 0, then I effective is equal to Ix into sin square 0 plus Iz into cos square 0. That implies I effective is equal to Iz. Please try to understand this. If theta is 90, these are all very important derivations. Ix into sin square 90, that is 1. I effect is equal to Ix. That means if the axis of rotation is perpendicular to the disk axis, then you have to consider Ix. If it is parallel to the disk axis, we have to consider Iz. And if it is making an angle theta, then we have to consider I effective is equal to Ix into sin square theta plus Iz into cos square theta. Did you understand? Ultimately, you remember this, effective I is equal to Ix into sin square theta plus Iz into cos square theta. This is a very important formula. Please remember this. And the conditions, theta is equal to 0, theta is equal to 90, that is also logically we are getting the answers. Now, once I effective is there, then kinetic energy is equal to half into I effective into omega square. That is equal to half into I effective is Ix sin square theta plus Iz cos square theta into omega square. This is equal to given as half. What is the value of Ix? Ix we have found it as 1 by 4 mr square from the geometry. Sin square theta plus this is Iz is half mr square cos square theta into omega square. That is equal to 1 by 8 into mr square, mr square also I think we can take it out. Mr square omega square by 8 into sin square theta plus 2 cos square theta. This is the final answer. Therefore, this is in the formula, this is in what sense? Alpha m omega square r square, which implies alpha is equal to 1 by 8 into sin square theta plus 2 cos square theta. This is the answer for the question given, and a direct question is asked at the national level examination, and it's a very important derivation. Don't forget it. If you want, you see my video again. And the question directly asked is, if theta is equal to 30 degrees, what is alpha? Alpha is equal to 1 by 8 into sin square 30 plus 2 into cos square 30. That is equal to what it happens? 1 by 8 into what is sin theta is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 whole square plus root 3 by 2 whole square into 2. This is 2. 2 cos square theta. That is 1 by 8 into 1 by 4 we can take out. 1 plus root 3 square is 3. 3 into 2 is 6. That is equal to 7 by 32. That means if theta is equal to 30 degrees, alpha is equal to 7 by 32. This is the answer. If theta is equal to 45 degrees, you can find out. Theta is equal to 60 degrees, you can find out. The final formula is this one. I think there is some value addition to your knowledge because of this. If there is a value addition, please subscribe to my channel. Please share this video and my channel details, and also subscribe to my channel Maths and Science by IITian. Best of luck to everybody. Please clear your concepts. For clearing concepts, you can see my other lectures also. In the description, I will give the link to the previous lectures on physics. Best of luck. Thank you.